you go. We're about to go live. It'll say click that you're okay with going live.
Yep.
And then then I'll do your intro and then you and I'll talk.
Sounds good. Now, how long is this? So I'll know basically, or how you
It's
end.
it's we're gonna talk and then we'll both kind of know when it's time to talk about where you are on social media. Then you'll know I'm getting ready to wrap it up.
Okay,
But
that's
usually
fine.
20 to 30 minutes.
That's cool. No problem.
Super duper. Here we go. Hi, everybody. I know a lot of you are like voyeurs in the bushes. You don't, with your binoculars, you're just like, what's she doing today? But you're not necessarily right here, right this minute, and that's okay. But right now, today, I want you to pay attention if you can, or when you're seeing this after the fact on my Facebook or Shawn Cornelius's Facebook and Instagram, or if you see it on my YouTube, or if you're the military people I send it to. This is a comedian and much more. We're going to get to know him. And let me read you the intro that he sent. Shawn Cornelius, that's who you're looking at over there, is a 1991 graduate of Shaw University with a BA degree in theater. He's a 30-year stand-up comedian, 4 times on the BET All-Stars. That is a huge big deal, folks. A musician, singer that plays several instruments, an author of 2 books, a director, writer, producer, and actor, in parentheses, Law and Order, folks. That's right, you heard it here. He has done several films and won several awards. Most of all, he's been a phenomenal motivational speaker with a story to tell about February 20th, 21, when he experienced an ischemic, I think ischemic stroke.
Ischemic,
What's that?
ischemic stroke.
Ischemic stroke in 2021. My Stroke Story is the award-winning short film and book that tells the story of his overcoming this situation while he helps others in his focus. And I lost my place. This was one of the most important times in his life, and he wants to help others as he talks about his situation. And if you know my life, you know why I'm interested in his story. Shawn has entertained over 250 colleges. Did you folks hear me? 250 colleges and more, and entertained thousands throughout his career. Combining all of these gifts that he has, plus the conversations, make him a well-suited guest for any show. Like the other day when I was so blessed to be on a show he headlined. Shawn has traveled all over the United States doing his stand-up, and this has taken him abroad to Jamaica, Puerto Rico, Mexico, the Cayman Islands, England, and Amsterdam. Furthermore, Shawn Cornelius is honest, funny, intelligent, and a speaker that wants to enlighten people and make them feel good. He's an award-winning filmmaker with his film Whatever It Takes the movie, Whatever It Takes the movie, when the movie I'm not sure how to read this. He's an award-winning filmmaker with his film Whatever It Takes the movie, when Blood Runs Cold from 2019. You really don't want me reading introduction. He also wants to share with people the gifts he has been blessed with and be blessed. He wants to bless others. So let's welcome him to the stage right now. The one and only Shawn Cornelius that you ever need to meet. Trust me, Shawn Cornelius.
Thank you. Thank you. I didn't know you were going to read all of that. I just sent that to you, and you said you were going to pick some of it out. So I just said, all right, let me just send what I can send. But you read it
Surprise,
all.
surprise. I can't take your life and say what I think is important. That's so rude. That's just all of you is important.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And thank you for having me because being at that show, I wasn't expecting to be on this show. The following couple of days later. I was just expecting it. I wasn't even expecting to headline that show. I was just going to come, do my spot, and that was it. It was just something for me to do to get back into doing my comedy and things like that. And then we met, and you did your thing, and it was wonderful. And so, thank you very much, first of all, for having me on your show. This is great.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a couple of friends that do interviews too, and I know they'll be reaching out to you to ask you to be on their shows as well. And some of them, have really done very well with the interviews that they do as well. So, but I want to talk to you about Shawn Cornelius, little tiny Shawn running around in his home. What was your home life growing up? Where'd you grow up? How many siblings? Talk to me. Tell me about growing up.
Well, little Sean grew up first of all, in Queens, New York. I was born in Queens, St. Albans, Queens, New York, and then I lived in Queens for a little while, and then grew up in Hempstead, Long Island. I was in Hempstead for a while at 114 Dartmouth Street. I still remember the address. And I have four sisters. I have no brothers. And I had a mom and dad, a stepdad, and we kind of had that family life, that kind of family life. So my family life was basically me doing pretty much my own thing because I have three older sisters, and my youngest sister didn't come along until I was about 7 years old. So I was the youngest for 7 years, and just pretty much tried to do things that their older sisters were doing, but they would kick me out, so I would have to do my own thing and be in my own room and do creative stuff on that level. So I went through the whole phase. We went through Catholic school, and did those kinds of things. And my first touch of entertainment was being a soldier, wooden soldier, in the Wizard of Oz play when I was in grade school. And that's what I remember. So I get started way back then. But I used to be in the choirs. I used to play the wooden sticks. That was my instrument for a little while. And I tried to play the guitar and was in the gospel choir and did those kinds of things. So I guess it started way back then, and being the only one in my immediate family with that kind of interest, I just went for all kinds of different things. So I played the drums and I tried to play the sticks and I played the sticks and I tried to play the guitar and sang and did all those kinds of different types of things, but didn't know, you don't know those things when you're young. So you just do them. So I was just doing stuff, and I played sports. I played basketball and football and things. I just tried to get into everything that my parents had thrown me into. So being the only boy was a little difficult sometimes. But my stepdad made sure that I was a man, and I remember all kinds of things that was going on. So then I grew up and we moved upstate when I was 10 years old, upstate New York, Hopewell Junction. And I started grade school there in fifth grade, Gayhead, and went to John Jay and went to Van Wyck. I did all those kinds of things and just pursued things, more sports than acting and stuff. I didn't really realize about the music and the acting and all those things until college. But I played sports in high school. So it was basketball, football, baseball, trying out, doing all those kinds of things and doing things kids normally do, things that they normally do. So I was having fun and trying to get into girls when I got into junior high school and high school, all kind of stuff. And still, then my little sister came along and I was 7. And then by the time we moved upstate, I was babysitting and couldn't go places because I had to babysit and do all kind of things. So typical teenage life type things and trying to do all kinds of stuff and get into all kinds of things. And my parents did what they could do to raise us and have us in situations. But back then it was a whole social thing. So we were only Black family in the neighborhood, on the street. So it was crazy. And I think my comedy started with those kinds of things because I know one year my mom sent me out to put Christmas cards in people's mailboxes, but she didn't tell me what the cards were. And the cards had a Black Santa Claus on them. So there was only one Black family in the neighborhood, and I didn't know. So the next day, my friend, when we got back to school, thanks for the Christmas card. I thought I was trying to keep it a secret. I thought it was a secret. No, I didn't put no Christmas card in your mail, but yeah, and he had the card with the Black Santa Claus on it. So I'm like, Mom, you could have told me that, you know what I mean? But she was making a statement, I guess. You didn't have to put the Black Santa Claus Christmas card to everybody. You could have just said Merry Christmas. So we were going through those things, but I guess that's where I got a lot of my training and living that kind of family life and doing those kinds of things and growing, and then moving forward, going on to college because I was told either I was going in the military or I was going to college. I was trying to take 6 months off to relax. But my mother said, you can relax. You can relax in the military or in college. So I ended up at Shaw University. Yeah, and spent some time there. And it was just so much because I didn't know what I want to do. I wasn't ready for school. A couple of years, I played baseball. I made the baseball team because I thought I was going to play basketball. My stepdad said, no, you're good, but you're not that good to play college basketball at 5'8", 5'9". This was before Spud Webb and all those other kind of things. But I ended up playing baseball for a couple of years, and then I didn't really want to be in college and messed up and blase blase. Called my mom, and she cried on the phone, and we got everything together. And I got it together, so and I ended up going to theater. I got drunk one night at a homecoming, and one of the guys I got drunk with was in the theater company, and we sang drunk. we sang old Motown drunk, friends, college people that we met, and we sounded good because everybody sounds good drunk. You know what I mean? So we said the next day, let's find out if we sound good sober. So we formed a group, and the group was called the Untouchables, and we had a little group, and people thought we were trying to, because we were freshmen, we were trying to act all bad and everything, but no, we just wanted to sit. We wanted to have fun. So we were having fun, and we had our little group, and the upperclassmen threw stuff at us during dinner. We tried to sing out on the yard. They threw oranges at us and all kind of things. We were trying to impress the girls. Yeah, things like that. And then they found that they were really good because we did talent shows, and then that kind of groomed us to forming. And I'm still friends with all those guys today. And the group The Untouchables, yeah, it was something. But I went on to doing theater and acting and music and all those other things that I do today. I all found all that stuff that I could do at Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina, under the tutelage of the late great H.V. Capel and his wife Patricia Capel, and they just saw something in me and knew that I needed to be on top of those kinds of things. And that's why I'm sitting here talking to you today, because from comedy to acting to music to writing, the theater to the movies, to all those kinds of things put me in place to do what I've been doing for 30 years. And when you saw me, I hadn't done comedy in like 4 months because I'm a concierge and a doorman. But you know how we go and change as comics, you got to do what you have to do to pay the bills and such and such and such and such. And my friend was Nikki, who owns, her and Jamie own the club. I called her last week and she was like, come on down, we'll come down to the New Faces. We got a spot. I'm like, New Faces? I'm 30 years in. You know what I mean? I was like, of course. That was God saying to me, here's your opportunity. Go do it. Take the spot. And I took the spot just thinking I was going to just do a spot. But it was in the closing spot. And they was like, well, you want to close? I was like, well, I'm here and I'm going to do what I got to do. And I know I'm here for a reason. And that's where we met. And that's why I'm sitting here today talking to you, telling you stuff, telling you my life.
Yes.
But it's been so many things going on. And I had the mild stroke back in 2001. I'm sorry, not 2001. I'm because I go back and forth, 21,
Yes. Me too.
21. And that changed my life a lot. That changed me a whole lot, from the medications, being in a hospital, things that I think about, friends, how people treat you. It's so many different things that you go through. And I'm blessed. I'm happy. Sometimes you'll see a little bit of, you may not out in public, but sometimes I go through my situations, and even still being a grown man, I have to admit, it's a different situation than it was prior to having the stroke, surviving the stroke, and dealing with situations, getting back into comedy, getting back on stage, having people push you, having people walk out of your life or drift out of your life. There's so many things that you sit back and you have to realize and understand about life, and your spirituality, and your gifts, your understanding, what you're given, what you can give to other people. And that's why I think I don't want to hold on to things that have happened to me. It's just things that I want to share with folks and talk to people about and communicate with folks and if I can touch folks and help them, if someone doesn't even have to come out public and say anything, but if I can move someone that hears my conversation, because I was helped that way. I saw people who said things and did things, and people that are doing things today that continue to push me, even though I still get my little modes. But then I see someone doing it, I'm like, you can't stop doing. You don't stop doing because you're giving up, you're giving. This is a blessing to be alive, to be able to do what you have to do. So you have time to touch people, you have time to motivate people, you have time to inspire folks. But as you do that for yourself as well. So that's why I came out to get on that stage, get out there and get those laughs and know that God has given me a blessing. And I've been doing it for 30 years. I may have taken a few months off and sat around, but here you have another opportunity. And God bless uh, um, Jamie Roberts, and God bless my friend who was in my movie, not Jamie, his wife Nikki was in my movie, and she carried my mother's name. She played a club owner, and she gave me the spot and said, "Come on down," and put me on, and that motivated and helped me to say to myself as I left, "You still got it. You still got it." But somebody there that night, you motivated, you helped, you by being and getting on that stage and talking and meeting folks that you did, you helped someone. You helped yourself, but you helped someone. So you got to continue that. You may feel bad the tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday, or you might feel great, but you are giving something. And I always go back to things, and there might not be people who are spiritual or deep in the Bible, and I understand that because everybody has their own thought process. So, but for me, it's a place where I'm comfortable and I'm good, you know, and I know that I can still sit down and play my bass. I know that I can sit down and play my piano if I want to because I can remember when I had a stroke 3 years ago, 4 years ago. But I'm able to do the things today that I was able to do before, and that's to me that was a message. I tell God and I laugh for them all the time. You didn't have to give me a stroke, a mild stroke a minor stroke to tell me. We could have done something else. You could show me some other way, but that was the way it was supposed to be, and that's the way it happened. And and through my situation, people have told me because I've written a book, and people have told me reading my book they didn't know, and there was stuff that people still don't know, and people say they look at me today, which helps me and say, well, I would have never known you had it if you didn't tell me. Well, I don't mind talking about it. Sometimes I just, I mean, I get in my moods, but it's helpful because people help me and people still continue to reach out and help me today. So I figure why not help continue to make people laugh, do the things that I do. And that's all I try to do. I'm trying to create new things, my movie, whatever it takes, the movie When Blood Runs Cold. I have the link, so if you want to see it, you can see it. But it was supposed to be on Tubi a month ago, 2 months ago, but it hasn't come out on Tubi yet. But it was supposed to be out. It was supposed to be out. Matter of fact, April, May, June, and I went to July now. It's God's time and whoever's time, whatever works. But I know I did the movie. I completed the movie with a friend of mine, and I have the link to look at and go, oh, because I did several things on, and you've seen some of it because I think I sent you the link. There's a lot of things that I've done creatively. I also had a show called After Dark with Shawn Cornelius, where, like you, I interviewed people and I let them talk, and whoever they were, they communicated, and they let people, and I did those kinds of things too because that's what we're here to do. We're not here to be by ourselves. We're here because we got other people that we could connect with. I didn't know you 3 days ago, 4 days ago, and then I went to the show and saw you do your wonderful set, and we met and we talked, and here I am today. So I'm so grateful, and I'm very honest about my understanding. I'm so grateful that you had me on your show and to talk about
Thank
the
you
things
so
that I
much.
do.
So let me ask you, with 30 years of show business experience and a great upbringing and so much to say, what is it, if you had to reach back to help young people coming into show business of any kind, or comedy, if you want to stay with comedy, what would you like younger entertainers to know?
Just go for what you want to do. Do what you want to do. Don't be afraid to tap into what you want to do. You may not be successful right away. You may have some pitfalls along the way, but if you continue to just continue, be strong on it, and know that's what you want to do and you're going to do, one day it'll come to you. You know, you may not be successful in when you first try. You may not be successful on your sixth try. You might be successful on your seventh try and fail on your ninth try. Keep doing what you love doing, and it'll come to you. Because I've met so many people on this journey, and it's so wonderful because there have been days in my 30 years that it hasn't been the best, but there have been days that have been so fantastic. There have been days that have been so great. You know, during my first Law and Order, I saw one of my classmates on Law and Order. When I got that Law and Order, I saw him and I said, you know what? I'm gonna get on Law and Order. And I'm sitting in Burger King on 125th Street eating a Whopper, and they called, and I thought that someone was fooling around, so I hung up on them. I was like, come on, man, whatever, stop playing around, and hung up. And they called back and said, no, this is Casting Networks, and we want to know if you'd like to be on Law and Order. And I said, yeah. And since then, I did 5 of them. So it was great. You know, that was something that I set out that I said I wanted to do. So you never know when things are going to come your way. And I think that I might have missed some things, but I know there's some things that came my way that I didn't miss. And like this, I didn't expect this when I went Saturday. I was just gonna go and do 5 minutes, 8 minutes, and that's for myself, and that's what I thought I was gonna do. I didn't know I was gonna end up talking to you on Monday on your show and be on somebody's show and communicate this. So there are things that you don't know that God will say, all right, because I my thing is I'm gonna do 50%. And my spirituality is I'm gonna leave 50% to God. I said, and I talked to him, listen, man, you got 50. I got 50. I'm gonna do my 50. My 50 was picking up the phone calling. And his 50 was Nikki answering saying, come on down Saturday. And I was thankful. And you have to recognize that. And I recognize those things. And I'm so appreciative of those things. And it just tells me it may be a small thing for somebody else, but it's a big thing for me. So stop, Shawn. Be thankful. Prepare yourself. Go do what you have to do, because there's an audience going to be watching you, and they don't know that you're doing it for you. You're going to be having such a good time. That's why I want the tape. I had such a good time just doing those 10 minutes and enjoyed that moment of being there. And I know I made people laugh because they came up afterwards and they talked to me, and I was decent enough for them to enjoy. So that
Yeah.
makes me feel good. You know, it's not me saying I was good. It's what the people say. And I appreciate when someone can come up to you and say, hey, thank you so much. You were funny. I enjoyed you. You did what you did.
You
So
know, when you got up on stage and they said your credits at BET Comic View, I flashed back. I used to watch Comic View,
mhm,
and I remember you on there, and I was like, he's right here in front of me. Oh my gosh. And then you delivered like a pro, like comedy royalty. That was in our presence as comedy royalty.
you keep saying that, and I'm very humble. I'm very humble. Sometimes people call me shy, and I'm still a little that way, but I know how to do things. I'm so grateful for your compliments. I'm so grateful for your comments. I'm so grateful for people that came up afterwards and said I was good and made them laugh. But I just enjoy being on stage. There were so many artists that I've read their stories, and they enjoy the stage more than regular doing in life. Michael Jackson is one. Marvin Gaye is another. Uh, George Carlin was a comedian that I enjoyed. I read about Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Moms Mabley, and all those people that came before. You tap in and you pick something from their story, and it's great to be on. That's such a great energy to be on stage and make people happy. I can look around a room and see people laughing. I can look around the room and see people smiling and having a good time, and they're having a good time because of you, and that's fantastic. If because I remember the times when I got on stage and people weren't laughing because I was new and I was fresh and I was starting. So to be on the New Faces show, to be an old face, that was one of my jokes. Where it was one of my things. Like I'm on a calendar. I mean, I'm on a flyer with all these new faces, but I'm 30 years in, and then I found there was a 70-something-year-old individual I'm not gonna say who she was. It was just fantastic and
Oh,
made me feel like you're not the oldest one up here doing what you love doing. And that's the thing that was another energy that gave me the push to do is realizing that okay, there are some people here who are young, very young. But then there are older folks up there who are still doing what they're doing because they love doing it. And that's what you do. And that right there gave me, listen, I was already ready to go. But when I got it, I was like, listen, well, you heard me. We're gonna have a good time regardless. I don't care how many. I was still when it came up to my time and 10 minutes was up, I was like, 10 minutes is over already. That's it.
I didn't want you to get off I wanted you to go another 3 hours.
It was fun. It was fun. But you know, who knows? Hopefully, this was a start of something that will carry on and continue to. No, I know my thought process is that it will, but I enjoyed it so much. You know, I enjoyed it so much. And then again, to get this your show off of just doing that, I didn't expect this. I really didn't expect this. I just expected to go do my set and that's it, and talk
You're
to see
so
some friends.
you have so many things in common with me. You give to give. You're up there to give laughter. You're not up there to just go, look at me, I got a lot of laughs. You're up there to entertain. And another thing we have in common is I had a drunk driver hit my car and
Mm,
I sustained mild dementia due to brain trauma, and all my friends left. And so I went through a rebuilding, retrusting, and it's been a slow, I've been in comedy 11 years,
okay.
and I have developed very slowly because of my limitations with my brain. I have to work 3, 4 times as hard as a regular person, and I do that. And I'm thankful for every spot, every booker, and I'm thankful for how, you know what? I'm so thankful that everything has taken so long. And I feel badly for new comedians that go up the chain fast because they're missing so much. Like a boxer has to have legs underneath him. Yes, you can't go out and play baseball if you can't run to first base.
Right, right. And, you know, it's a time thing, and some people understand it, and some people will get to it, and they'll know it. You can't force your time. You can't. And I've learned, you know, your time is your time. No matter what you push and try to do, and things happen when they happen because it's all set to happen. So you can try to go as fast as you want it. It's not going to go as fast as you want it. You might think if you're successful at a certain, that's your time to be successful. That's your time when you're supposed to. That's your time to switch jobs. That's your time. This job came for you. And that's what people don't understand when you're young or you don't have it on the mental. But hopefully you'll get to that point where you're able to. I had to switch and do concierge work this year in January and become a concierge at an apartment building and have a job. 6 months in, 7 months in, here it is. I did doing comedy. I was doing comedy early this year, but then I stopped because I had to focus on that job. That was meant to be in my life. Concierge work was so many things have happened at that job that I because I know now. You got to be patient. It's hard to be patient. Sometimes it's so hard to be patient, especially when you want something and you want to do. And I'm looking around. I'm like, I've only been here 5 months out of all these years that I've done things. But look at what happened in my 6th month, my 7th month. Concierge gives me time to sit down and write. It gives me time to sit down and do my jokes and study. So there's no excuse for me not to be good at knowing and having things and doing things and getting on stage because I've got that kind of time to go over things. And what kind of perfect job is that to get when you're looking to do that? So it's setting you up for something, it's setting me up for some kind of situation. And I just got to be patient and go, you've had this run. You've had 30 years of what you've done and traveled the world. You've done cruise ships. You've been overseas. You've been in the Bahamas. You've been to Jamaica. You've been to Mexico. You've done all these things. So now I'm going to settle you down for a second. Now you're going to regroup and get this job and make this money that you got to make. You're not going to go on a whim. You're going to save some money and do what you got to do. And then peace out, get your pieces. And that's what's been happening. So I was a concierge. I started doing concierge work a couple of years ago at locations from a friend who happens to be a comedian. And the guy who owns the building used to own a club that I was a regular. How about that? Excuse me.
That's crazy.
How about that? 2020, let me see, it was 2007 when I went to this club, High Comedy Club, and I had to audition. And I met a comedian who was a host there and general manager, and then I met the guy, one of the guys who owns it. I actually now work for that guy who owns the building, apartment building, because of the guy who was the general manager works for him as well, got me a spot to do the concierge work at another building. And then this job came along, then they offered it to me.
That's
Because I was,
incredible.
you gotta look at those things and you kind of go, you can look at them and go, whatever. Or you can look at them and go, look at how things are set up and meant to be. When
There's
you look
so
at your,
many people. There's so many people right now who are close to hopeless. And I'm not going political. I'm just saying in life with what's going on around the world. And so you inspire people by the way you speak. I know you've done motivational speaking. Um, so I feel your motivational talent coming through, but also your faith, your belief in a higher power, I guess, is what you're speaking of.
yes, I do. I do believe in a higher power. I'm very strong on that. And I know there are things that happen that, my story, when things get really rough, I go back. Like I said, no disrespect to anybody who doesn't. Whatever you believe. And I respect that. But I know what I believe. And God knows what I believe. And I go back to the story of Christ. When Christ came down and did what he had to do for everybody to wipe away the sins. And if you know that story, you know that story. And he did everything. He was crucified. He was crucified for all of us, died for all of us. And we had wiped away our sins, right? But then here it is. We're able to live our lives and do what we have to do. We have our own choices to do things that we have to do. And there are things that I believe when you read about other characters in the Bible, other people in the Bible, other men and women in the Bible, and you say your life is really no different. And you have certain situations go on, and they had diseases that back then, leprosy and all kinds of situations that was going on. And that's what I said, okay, so you can't feel sorry, because I did for a while. I felt sorry for myself
Me
because
too.
I've been very, very healthy, had situations going on where I've been doing things and traveling around and not having a problem. And then all of a sudden I had the stroke. I took myself to the hospital that Saturday afternoon because I wasn't feeling right. And they kept me in the hospital, and then they found out a day or so later that I had a mild. And they was like, you bought yourself, yeah. And you had, okay, so now I'm in the hospital getting better, but I got all these thoughts. I'm hooked up to everything. I spent 5 days in a hospital here in the Bronx. And boy, my mind went crazy. My mind went everywhere, every place. And I have jokes about some of the things, but there are some things that shook me, because I hadn't dealt like this. And having to lay there and go through those kinds of situations and not understand certain things and not know, you know what I mean? And then know. You know what you know about life, but then you don't know what you know, what's going to go on with your life. And you're dealing, and you have to deal with that on a daily basis. You're laying in the hospital, and you have no idea. So you have nothing to do with pray and talk. Well, when a priest came by, I got nervous, got scared with it. That's one of my jokes. The priest, because they make rounds all the time. But they one stopped at my door one day. I was like, nah, I want you to pray because I don't know. Nah, yeah, I mean, yeah, I want you to pray. You know what I mean? So you go through those situations that you don't understand. And I thought about so many things. I don't mind talking. I lost my mom in 2001. I lost my dad in 2003. And so there were things, thank you, there were things that I thought about. There were so many things that I thought about. There were so many things that I thought about in my life. What I've done in life, where's my life going? What's happening? You know what I mean? Because I know so much, and I'm laying, and sometimes sitting in this hospital room on this unit with all these people, and I don't know what's going on. And I had to get closer. And maybe that's when God said to me, I'm gonna take you through this. And you're going to learn when I take you through this situation. So there's so much that I was thinking. So that's why I wrote the book. I had to write it because that's how I get out my energies. I write. So I have two, but that's the two books. The first book I wrote off of fun, off of everything. But the second book, my stroke story, I wrote because I had to write that scenario about having that situation. And it was okay. It was okay. But when I wrote it and got it out and people started buying it and then people started calling me and people started talking to me, it got better because I was able to heal to where, if whatever you want to say healing is. So I was able to talk to folks and I was able to get into a group. I got into a group and I'm in a group to this day. I'm in a group. My group meets on Tuesdays, the first Tuesday of the month. So I got to meet. I may have a meeting tomorrow, and it's so helpful because there's just so many people in the group that have dealt with these, that have dealt with strokes, and worse than mine. Some better than mine. But I learned because doctors come and talk, and it doesn't matter that you look at me and go, you don't look like you had a stroke. It doesn't matter. Mentally, emotionally, it can be rough. It can be really rough. So
Yeah.
I go. I go to the group meetings, and I have a group on Facebook that I'm on, and there's so many people. We're all alike in this group that we've had these situations, we've had these experiences, and we've had situations where folks have left, because they don't understand. Friends don't understand when you go through a medical situation that they've never been through, and sometimes you have to let them go. Sometimes you'll take time to explain it. And sometimes you just have to let them go because people in your life for what reason, a season, and you just have to move on. You got to keep moving. So I was able to, through the stroke situation, and like still today, talk to people and communicate with folks. And people will continue to ask me, am I right? Like I just had a visit yesterday with if you don't mind me saying, my daughter and son yesterday came by. They were up here from South Carolina. They visited, and it was great to see them. And they were it was very nice. We went downtown to 42nd Street and walked around, took pictures. If you look on Facebook, on my Facebook page, I posted some things. And we had a very nice time. And it was good. You got to learn how to enjoy those things. But sometimes we move around so much and there aren't meaningful things in our lives that we don't do what we're going. I walk out and smell. I ride my bicycle, smell the flowers, the smell, which is a change of season. You got things that you can enjoy, things that you look at in life and go, wow, how did that happen? How did that grow? And that tree was just dead 6 months ago, and now it's got leaves on it. The tree was still. There's so many things in life that are unanswered, but you just have to enjoy the beauty of it. And that's what I've learned to do, and that's what coming through these situations have taught me in life, to be able to add to my comedy, make people laugh and enjoy, and my writing, things that I've been blessed to do, obviously, that I've been given from doing that soldier back in grade school when I was little to now, to know that my road has been pathed out for me and I'm supposed to do the things that I'm doing. And these things are supposed to happen.
When you get old like me and you eventually die, what do you want to be remembered for?
I'm the kind of guy that's still that little kid doesn't want to think about those things. I've always had that in my heart. My family knows it. I'm not one who deals with that easy. I just want to be able to do good. I want people to just be able to say, well, Shawn, yeah, I remember, and smile. You know what I mean? And think about jokes and think about my comedy shows and think about my writings and think about my movies and think about how I made them feel good on those levels and how he was a good guy, and I don't like thinking about that. And I know things happen. I just had to deal with something that I talked with and I have a therapist that I just talked about a couple of months ago. And I've lost some people and it's a part of me that I just don't like, of life I don't like.
Absolutely. I was just joking about dying. I
Oh
was
no, but it's a reality. It's a reality. And
yeah.
you do that, and if you can do that, that's fine. How you do, you know what I mean? I'm just
Yeah.
somebody who I've always been honest with people. I do deal with levels, and I know what's it, but I don't like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm one who loves people, and I like to see people. I like to be around people. I like, I love those things. But you do what you do, and there's no disrespect given to you for how you feel or what you talk about, because that's what you do. That's how you do. So no, I knew that question was coming because you threw that, you put that in there before, and I said, okay, well, you know what, Shawn, you've got to face that question, and tell the truth, and that's all I've done, and that's all I know how to do is tell the truth. I don't deal with death easily. I don't like to, but I will if I have to. When it comes to individuals and situations, I just don't, because I'm on that other level. But I know, and because I study and I know about God, and I feel very good about that, that I can do that kind of thing, it'll be okay. But that's just who Shawn is. You know,
Exactly. Well, okay, let me ask you this because we're getting ready to wrap her up here.
sure.
So, this has been a real treat. Everything you've said has resonated to my toes. So, I just hope that other people are inspired by what you've said. I'm sure they will be because you're very motivational and you really are authentically who you are. So, thank you so much for coming to my little show here. And what I would like to know is where can you use help? Where do you want people? And I know help isn't something people take easily. Might have used the wrong word. Where do you want people to follow you on social media? What have you
I,
got going on that we can help you grow?
I'm mainly on Facebook. I'm not on Instagram anymore because someone hacked my page because of somebody else and somebody else. One of those things happened. So Facebook is Shawn Cornelius, ShawnCornelius. It's just my name. And you can follow me there. And I have on a Shaw University shirt because I had two pages because I had a lot of people. But it's you can see the Shaw University shirt, and then it has all the things that I did on my page. So I'm a member of the Masons. I don't mind talking about those. So there are things that you can see in my profile. It's a picture of the Masons situations, and it's got all the little acting symbols and things around it, and it's got me with Shaw University on it, and that's my page, my Facebook page. TikTok, Shawn Cornelius, is very simple. And over on YouTube, it's Shawn Cornelius Entertainer, and that covers everything. That covers music. It covers my films. It covers my talk show that I had after dark. My short talk show again after dark with Shawn Cornelius is on a page. So you can either go to the after dark page or you can go to Shawn Cornelius Entertainer page. Um, and my internet address, my Gmail is Shawn Cornelius at Gmail. It's SHAWN Winnie is Winnie like Winnie the Pooh, POOH. That's my nickname I got when I was little. Shawn Cornelius, CORNELIUS at Gmail. And that's how you get to me at Gmail and those kinds of things on the internet. But in most of it, the Facebook and things like that and all kinds of stuff. So YouTube, you'll see all my stuff, music and acting and comedy and clips and creations that I've done, things like that. And let me just say this one more time. This has been wonderful. This is you have been an angel sent, and I thank you so much for allowing me to come on and talk and communicate. Obviously, you can hear me talking so much. It's been a wonderful experience. Um, so
Yeah.
coming out
Thank
of doing
you.
things, yeah, I'm so appreciative of it. So thank you so much.
I'm sure that my friends Tommy and Scott, they're two podcasters. I'm going to tell them that they really should take a look at this and interview. They'll interview you in a totally different way. They're a little bit like good nerds. I'm very basic. I'm just a basic girl doing interviews. I'm like Barbara Walters if she was a little bit funner. Not
Listen,
much.
this
A
has
little.
been fantastic. You are who you are, and it's great that you do what you do. And I'm so appreciative. I'm glad we met. I hope we continue to stay in contact on things and do those kinds of things. So because it's
So,
beautiful. You're the only one to talk to me about,
Shawn,
doing.
some people watch these who are bookers and club owners and agents. Where are you open to going and traveling as far as movies and TV and comedy? How
Listen,
far would you travel?
I'll do anything. I'll
Okay.
go anywhere. I just don't, again, I don't know what's in the plans. I just know that where I am and I know what my abilities are. If there are movies, bookers or directors or producers or whomever looking to do things and I can fit it all in, I'm going to try to continue to fit everything in and I can fit in. I think this was a step for me. I know this was a step for me from what you did because me coming out finally in this month, which is my birth month, my birthday month, and me saying, okay, I'm gonna go to that club. I'm gonna go do what I do, and then meeting you, and then whatever else happens on the level of whatever else happens, it's supposed to happen. So if something comes, it comes. I'm gonna take what I can take. I'm gonna make happen what I can make happen. So if someone says, "Sean, we got a movie we're shooting in Hawaii," I might have to talk to the people that I work for and tell them, look, man, I know that I'm the only guy over there that sits in car, but can we work something out? And if not, I'll have to figure something out because I know God is going to put everything in place the way it's supposed to happen. Just like Saturday was. I worked Saturday before I came over to the club. I just got off early. They let me off early. I was only going to get off like maybe 15 minutes early. They gave me a whole hour to get off early to get over to where I need to get to. So look how things work out.
Things work out. That's
They
right.
work out for that reason. That was God saying that's his 50%. All right, Sean, I'm gonna do this for you. I gotta go. I'll be back at another. Here's this 50. Go ahead. You got an hour. And then the guy said, why don't you just take 5? Get off at 5 o'clock and go do what you gotta do. Make your appointment.
Well, thank you so much. I'll get this ready on YouTube in the next hour and a half, and I will be sending it to you for you to share it on Facebook
I
or
sure
wherever
will.
you want to put it. And yeah, and I'm so happy, and I'll tell Scott Townsend and Tommy Kovac that you're a great interview and they should have you on too. So, and if you're a booker, an agent, a club owner, you're doing a pilot, you're open to having Shawn send you his EPK or whatever we call it these days, reach out to him. It's Shawn
Who? Cornelius
Cornelius,
at Gmail.
Pooh Cornelius at
Yeah.
Gmail. Yeah, do it. Do it because he's a great guy, fabulous entertainer. He is the real deal. Thank you
So what
so
what
much.
what did you call me earlier? I still got it on my phone.
You're a legend. I mean, they're comedy royalty.
Comedy royalty. That's what you call me. Comedy royalty.
Yes.
Comedy royalty.
Look at 5 times on BET Comic View All Stars. Holy
Well, you
Toledo.
gave me you gave me an extra one, so it's 4 times, but you gave me extra, and I'll take it.
Let me write your IMBD credits for you. You will
Yeah.
look stunning. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, Shawn.
Bye bye.